Hello everyone, and welcome back to this another video in IELTS strategy series. Do you think you are facing problem with the IELTS speaking cue cards? Then this video is definitely for you. So without any further ado, let's get started. So cue card is going to be a topic which will be related to your day-to-day life or maybe day-to-day situations. The situations which you might have come across, you might have been into, or maybe the situations or the happenings which you are just observing. For example, talk about a place you recently visited, talk about a restaurant which you visited and you did not like, or maybe talk about a country, talk about a nation where you want to visit in your future. Okay, now, when we talk about the cue card, the duration, the timing, you have to speak on it for about 2 minutes. Now, it is completely upon the examiner if he wishes you to speak for about complete 2 minutes or maybe a minute or a minute and a half. So, the condition is you will not stop till the time the examiner tells you to stop. Do not, do not risk that. Okay, because I understand what happens is while you have spoken for about a certain time period, you start feeling as if okay, I don't know, maybe the time is more than 2 minutes and the examiner has forgotten completely to stop me, but that's not how the case is, right? So do not stop, as I said, till the other person tells you to. Now what exactly is the purpose, like why cue card is a part of IELTS speaking? So cue card is there to see if the other person, if you as a candidate who is about to visit or maybe stay for a longer time duration in a foreign land is able to speak on any given topic to a certain length. And before you actually start preparing for the cue cards, it is very important for you to know the type of the question. And by that, I mean what exactly cue card is. You should know what are the different types of the cue cards being reported and what exactly should be your approach, the strategy. Then we talk about the rubrics here. By rubrics, I mean, see, when you are appearing for your IELTS speaking, it is not like that the listener, I mean, the examiner has just listened to the whole speaking session and the examiner goes like, okay, this speaking is for 6 bands and this is for 7 bands. While you are answering to the questions, the examiner constantly is judging you on the basis of certain skills. Now, number one is the pronunciation. And when it comes to the pronunciation, kindly refrain from mother tongue effect or usage of certain accents, right? Then we have the fluency. Now, the fluency sometimes get hampered when you start making a lot of repetitions, then there are unnatural pauses, or maybe you are stretching the word a bit too longer, right? That's when the fluency gets hampered. And then we have the grammar. Grammar is all about the type of the sentences you are making, your tenses, and last is vocabulary. And vocabulary is not just about rich words. Okay, so guys, just let me make it really clear and straight to you that vocabulary does not mean that you always have to have rich words or maybe complex words in your speaking. That's not how it works. So each rubric is being scored out of 9 bands. So even if you happen to work on the three main skills and one is left even at 6 bands or maybe 6.5, your average score will still be more than 7 or 7.5. Why so? Because you have 8 out of 9 bands pronunciation, 7.5 out of 9 bands fluency, and then we have grammar, which is again for 7 out of 9 bands. So if you are lacking vocabulary, do not take that thing for granted that okay, if I'm not good with the vocabulary, if I'm using the simple words, then I might not be able to score. That's not how it is. But yes, if you are preparing for the speaking, I would definitely suggest you to have a collection, have a range of words which you can build as you have sufficient time available, right? And vocabulary, not just the words, but yes, certain idiomatic expressions will also be of great help. So that was the basic of the cue card. Now here is a sample. Now you should know, as I told you, you should know how exactly the cue card is, what is the type. So when we talk about the cue cards, okay, so can anybody tell me why exactly it is called a cue card? And what exactly is the meaning of the cue? So basically you are, given with a question and then you have certain cues to it. These are the cues, and by cues I mean the hints. The type of material, the type of information which the examiner wants from you, right? So this is the reason that why it is called cue card, because you're given with the question and then you have certain hints available for that question to organize your information. It will help you to know that what exactly are you supposed to speak on that particular topic. So exactly that was my point when I was telling you to go for note making during 1 minute time duration, that you have to make your notes in the sequential manner, okay, the sequence in which the questions have been given. Because if you're not making the notes in the sequential manner, okay, let me put across an example, a situation. You're sitting across the examiner handed over you the cue card, right? So what happened, till the time your 1 minute, the time was ticking, the cue card was very well there in your front, and you are all confident about, I remember the questions and I'll be able to recall them. But what if the examiner, though it is seldom, but what if the examiner took back that cue card sheet from you after your 1 minute is over? How will you be able to recall what exactly was the sequence and what exactly was the question number third? So it is very important to make use of that 1 minute time really carefully. And if you're going to make the notes, remember, make the notes in a sequential manner, right? So this is how a sample cue card looks like. Now, cue cards, as in the first slide itself, I was telling you that cue cards are always subject oriented. So you see, whenever there is an information provided to you, be it in the written form, the reading, or maybe the spoken form, the whole lot information is always going to be oriented to a certain subject. And so is the case with the cue cards also. So the first subject is the person, then we have the place, then we have thing, and last is event. So now why I'm telling you to, divide your cue cards according to the subject, because for example, if you're talking about a person here, right, it is a subject here. Now if you see, there are lot many cue cards which are oriented to a person itself. Now let me give you an example. For example, I happen to get a lot of information about this one famous personality who's of course no more, Mr. APJ Abul Kalam Azad. Now if I know about this personality, I can cover for about 3 to 4 different type of cue cards just because of this one person. For example, talk about a person whom you admire a lot. Talk about a person whom you wanted to meet. Talk about a person who you think had, made a great contribution to the society. Talk about a person who is a famous celebrity. Talk about a person who is a writer, or talk about your favorite writer. So you see, there are so many types of the cue cards which I'm going to address, which I can accommodate just because I have one person in my mind, right? So same is with the place also. For example, if I'm having this certain local place which is in my hometown itself, maybe a restaurant, maybe a library, so that place can cover again 1 or 2 types of cue cards. Talk about a place where you like to visit frequently. Talk about a place where you like to visit with your friends, or maybe talk about a place, a quiet place where you want to go and study. So it will be very helpful for you if you divide your cue cards according to the type of the subjects mentioned, because that's the method, that's the strategy with which you will be able to complete or cover a wide range of the cue cards which are available, right? Okay, then. So, any doubt, guys, please feel free to ask us and reach to us, as we will be definitely displaying the number at the end of the session. So, now we'll be talking about the struggles, the areas, uh, the probably we can call it as the incompetencies also, because these are exactly the problems because of which sometimes the candidate is not able to speak for full 2 minutes. So number one definitely is inability to speak for 2 minutes, and that is because of primarily the fact that we do not have enough content, or maybe enough story to build around or cook around the cue card, the topic. Then we come to the pauses. Okay, so guys, there is a lot of, I would say, a misconception around the pauses being a struggling area. See, when we talk about the pauses, let me tell you one thing. Taking pauses
as I believe, does not necessarily lower your band scores, because you have to understand the fact that you are a native speaker. And if you're taking a pause, that means you're thinking about the topic. Okay. And of course, being a native speaker, you are not well oriented to this English language, because English as a language is probably your third language. Okay. So taking pause is to a certain extent fine. But yes, if it is on a frequent interval, and by pauses, I mean if you are trying to use the pause as a filler, for example, sounds familiar? So this can actually cause a problem if it is very, very frequent. Otherwise, pauses make your speaking look and sound natural, right? Then we have the repetitions here, third. So by repetitions, I mean certain self corrections which you try to make. Then you have, not enough of the word range with you, so you try to do what, you try to just repeat what you exactly said in the previous sentence. So that again is a problem, because when you are time and again repeating your words or your sentences, that means you do not have enough range of words with you available, which can of course impact your vocabulary, right? Now, coming to the voice modulation, or maybe the intonation. See, voice modulation to a certain level is important, because if you are a native speaker and while you are speaking, while you are appearing for your IELTS speaking and answering to certain questions, there is supposed to be a certain fluctuation in your voice graph, right? You cannot go in a robotic tone, because that will look like, what do you call, a memorize, that will sound as if you are speaking on a topic which you have already memorized. Okay, so bit of voice modulation, or I would say the fluctuation, is really important. Okay, then the content creation, of course, content creation is, I would say, directly proportional to this very fact that you are not able to complete your cue card within 2 minutes. So okay, let me help you with the content creation. Number one, you have to identify your approach towards cue card. So basically, when we talk about the approach, see, there are two things. Number one, when the cue card is given to you and you're making the notes in the sequence, you have to identify if you are speaking on the questions along with the explanation. All right, let me take you back to the previous slide here. Right, so this is the topic. Now, most of the students, they do what? They will pick each question and then they will try to elaborate them. Then of course you are going to run out of the ideas really soon, because what you are doing, see, what I believe is that cue card is made up of two types of explanations. Number one is the generic explanation, a generic story that revolves around the topic, in which all you are doing in the beginning is just answering to the questions, and then you follow the story making, the story. Okay, I'll give an example here. For example, this is the cue card which I'm supposed to talk about. So it is about a handmade gift which I gave to somebody. The questions are what that gift was, why you made it, and for whom, and how did that person like that gift. So I would definitely not be elaborating all these questions. I will first address these questions in just one line, so that number one, I'm on a safer side, that okay, all my cues are covered, and then I can go for the story. Okay, now just listen to it carefully. Okay, so the handmade gift, which I clearly remember I made, was this beautiful greeting card for a very good friend of mine. And I made it because it was a very special occasion. And this occasion was, of course, her birthday. And the other, as the question is, that how did the person like that gift? Of course, the person, I mean, my friend, she was very happy. And the moment she opened that gift, I could see the tears rolling down her cheek, because she felt so special about it. So you see, what I'm doing here is I am just trying to cover all the three questions, all the four questions being asked first, and then I will go for the story and how the story will continue now. So it goes back in 2018 when I was invited for my best friend's birthday. Her name is Pooja. Okay, any random name which you have. So I got a call and I was so confused about what exactly should I be gifting her, because I knew that she likes bags, she likes to, have those dresses, but I could see in her wardrobe already that she already had a huge collection of all those things. So this time I thought of, doing something very special for her. So this is how you should be dividing your cue card. Okay, so first go for answering to all the questions being asked, and then you shift to the storytelling. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Then we have less discourse markers. See, discourse markers play a very important role, because the other person who's sitting in front of you, you have to try to include that person also in your speaking. And by discourse markers, we mean the words which are more like fillers. So mostly more than half of the students, the kind of fillers which they use are just okay, but this is exactly not how the discourse markers should be. So discourse markers are example. So as you know, okay, let me brief you about that. So, sir, what happened? So these are the discourse markers which just help you, to have certain time with you to just think about another idea. And then secondly, they are acting as the fillers as well. So practice on discourse markers as much as possible. And then the mother tongue effect. So pronunciation definitely gets affected by mother tongue effect, but let me tell you one thing, that mother tongue effect not necessarily is going to drag down your scores to that extent. For example, if you're pronouncing is as ij, it happens. Okay, let's admit that. So it does not mean that you will be having maybe 2 or maybe 3 bands deducted. That's not how it works, right? But yes, please, um, refrain from having mother tongue effect. Just put into more of, the practice. So now talking about the helpful tips. So number one is speaking in front of mirror. So speaking in front of mirror should not really be taken as, taken lightly, because when you stand in front of the mirror, believe you me, it takes for about 10 to 15 minutes, sorry, days, to get yourself comfortable while you're standing in front of the mirror and then speaking. But if you do that on a regular basis, I can bet you will have a remarkable improvement in the flow, the fluency, and the structuring of your ideas. Now, the right strategy is, while you are standing in front of the mirror, you are not supposed to look here and there, not even your hair. Okay, you have to look straight into your eyes. Just try it, just give it a try. And I can tell for the initial 4 to 5 days, you will be really uncomfortable for this. But once you happen to pick up the pace, once you happen to start looking into your own eyes and then speak, you will, as I said, have a significant improvement in the fluency part. Then practice discourse markers. As I told you, discourse markers are going to be the fillers. Practice them as much as possible. And yes, one more thing. Sometimes when the exam orientation is being provided to the student, then a lot of emphasis is given on dresses. Okay, I get it, I understand that making yourself look presentable is very imperative, it's very important. But when we talk about dress, or the way you look is going to impact your scores, then no, a big no. Your dress, your slippers has no impact on your scoring whatsoever. But of course, you wouldn't, like to wear jari colors. Just refrain from them, because the jari, or the loud colors, can actually um, cause a lot of distraction, if not to you, but to the other person who's listening to you, right? Then, very important, refrain from asking the meaning of the question to the examiner, because examiner is not going to help you with that in any manner. Examiner can repeat the question, but examiner will never ever tell you the meaning of the question which he's asking you. Next, if a cue card is given to you, for example, you have been an art student and the cue card comes, I'm just giving an example, okay? Don't get into the panicky state that, okay, shayad aisa hoga. No, that's not how it is. So if you are an art student and examiner happens to give you the cue card, okay, talk about biology as a subject, and then you completely go, ori, okay, oh my God, how I'm going to speak about biology? I have never studied biology. But at least you can cook certain story around the subject, maybe. That is a science, if not biology in particular. So this is basically called switching technique. So when we talk about the switching technique, guys, if you master the switching technique, you will be able to complete your cue card in no time. And by no time, of course, I mean 2 minutes, right? Just excuse me for that. Then we have another, helpful tip, that is utilize your 1 minute time to make notes, but in the sequential manner. As I already told you, the sequence in which the cue card or the cues have been provided to you, just try to make the notes in that sequence only, so that you remember, right? Then we have another one. You have to divide the cue card as a general explanation and then the story. So this is exactly what I was trying to explain you in the previous slide, that you have to divide the cue card. So first, just talk about the questions, just cover the questions, and then go for what extraneous information you have about those questions with you, right? Daily record yourself. See, if you're recording yourself, you are bound to make a lot of improvement in your own speaking, because you will get the areas where you are struggling with. You will get to know how exactly your voice intonation is, how your fluency is, and what are the errors while speaking which you were committing. So that is very helpful. If that comes in very handy if you exactly are recording yourself on daily basis. Last is, do not be scared of examiner fidgeting. So you see what happens many a times, the students come to us and then they go like, okay, so examiner was very rude, the examiner had this body language which made us very uncomfortable, the examiner was just fidgeting with the things on the table. Guys, they're supposed to do that, okay? Do not take it as any sort of distraction. Of course that is distracting to a greater extent, I completely agree with that, but you are not there to entertain the examiner. You are not there to answer to the personal, the questions which the examiner is trying to ask you. You are just there to fill in a sort of formality, okay? So it doesn't matter, even if the examiner is just laid back in his or her chair and then has closed her or his eyes, shouldn't really be bothering you, because all you have to do is just whatever the question is asked, you have to answer it. And do not forget, your speaking is getting recorded. So even if the person who's sitting in front of you is not listening to you properly as you feel that, the other person who will listen to your recording is definitely going to judge you, right? So be careful about it. So guys, last but not the least, for the cue card, as I had mentioned in brief, that there is a technique called switching technique. So if you get the topic with which you are not well oriented to, or you probably have no information about, the switching technique comes in really handy. And if you have heard about switching technique but don't know exactly how to use it, then of course there is no purpose of just knowing about switching technique. So if you want to know more about it, just feel free to contact us. Here is the contact number, and then you can follow us on the Instagram with ACCT Education and SIC.education. And then we have our YouTube channel. Please do not forget to subscribe it, SIC Education. So we'll keep up, with these sessions in a continuous manner. And thank you for joining.